So, dear students, we start a new chapter. It would be a running commentary. The name of the chapter is Organizing. Organizing, it's a very important word. We always want to organize our life. So, once the objectives and plans to achieve them are laid down, the management has to identify and establish productive relationships between various activities and resources required for implementing plans. So basically, you have the goal set, you have the plans, and the plans are also well laid down. Now, what do you need? Now, you need to establish productive relationships. So, the idea is the theoretical plan. Everybody has something, in the mind, but it should come out in the reality. So, productive relationships between various activities. Various activities are undertaken from starting point to the finishing points. And all these activities would definitely require resources. Resources for ultimately implementing the plans. So, we had a plan. First, we had a target. Then, we made a plan. Then, we laid down the plan. Now, the management has to identify and establish productive relationships between various activities and resources required for implementing plans. Such a function is called organizing, or we can say this is the function of organizing. So the plans are there. Now please organize. Let's implement the plan. So organizing is the process of identifying and grouping various activities, bringing together physical, financial, and other resources. So, you need physical, you need financial, you need other resources, and establishing authority relationship among job positions. So, the theoretical aspect needs to be implemented. Who are going to implement? Of course, people. But now they all need to be given a job position in the company. The organizing function results in creation of organizational structure. Who is going to report to whom? So this structure, which would serve as a framework within which the enterprise functions. So the aim of organizing is to enable people to work together for a common purpose. So there might be lot of process, lot of activities, but ultimately they all are working together for a common purpose. So basically we need to focus on building a framework or a structure of task. Basically task needs to be done, and authority relationships. So if you are not completing a task, do you have someone senior who can reprimand you? Who can say, oh my God, why haven't you finished the assigned task to you? So I think we are more or less understood the meaning of organizing. So it's clear that organization is the framework through which managers get things done through people. Sound organization is the backbone of effective management. How and why? Specialization, optimum use of human resources, coordination and cooperation, security and support, growth and diversification, adaptation to change, training and development of personnel, aid to management. So basically 8 points comes under importance of organization at a glance. So why organization is so important? So under specialization, we understand that the work is divided, subdivided, and it promotes specialization. And specialization would lead to efficiency and speedy performance of tasks. So when we divide and subdivide, basically what we are trying to create is specialization. And this leads to the second point of optimum use of human resources. How we are trying to use the human resources in the best possible manner by selection of employees and fitting the right person to the right job, then only optimum utilization can take place. So the human talent should be appropriately utilized. So how can this be done? The role, the task, the authority, responsibility of every job are clearly spelt out. Now we come to the third point of coordination and cooperation. So we are appointing people in the various levels. So we have an organization structure. So this structure is a mechanism for unifying and harmonizing the efforts of individuals as well as the work groups. Higher level managers bring about cooperation and coordination by exercising authority over interrelated activities of lower level managers. So a clear cut responsibility of each manager should be defined so that confusion and conflict about the powers and privileges of managers are clearly defined, and so there is less conflict. So each manager knows to whom he is responsible and to whom he can issue orders. So this is very important. Point number 4 is security and support. A sound organization structure is a source of security, support, and satisfaction (SSS) to the managers as well as the workers. It provides a definite status and position. So everybody, they look for status and position. Now the organization should have a framework where an enterprise can expand and grow. We all need growth. Is the organization ready to adapt to a changes? A properly designed organization structure should be flexible. It should facilitate adjustment to workload changes. These changes may relate to technology, product, resource, markets, better methods. So basically, is the organization keeping the scope of adaptation to changes? Then a sound organization will have training and development of personnel. So adequate delegation of authority can take place. Of course, training and development would also recognize merit for distribution of reward and promotion. Point number 8 is very important, aid to management. So organization focuses managerial attention on the achievement of enterprise objectives. So management brings order out of chaos, removes conflict over work, and creates an environment suitable for teamwork. So we have understood the importance of organization. Now let's understand the steps in the process of organizing. Division of work. This is step number 1. So the total work has to be divided into specific jobs. Why? Because it cannot be done by one individual. It's not possible. So division would facilitate specialization of efforts and skills. So there will be major functions like production, marketing, finance, other functions, and then they have to be broken into sub functions. So this is called division of work. Now second is grouping jobs or activities. This is called departmentation, right? So manageable units, you need to classify or group the jobs and activities into manageable units and place each group of activities under a charge of a manager. This is very, very important. Basically, everything is important, it's all interconnected. So, various departments come into action. One popular method of grouping is on the basis of functions which an organization undertakes to achieve. So, departments are created for manufacturing, marketing, financing functions. A second method of creating department is on the basis of type of products. So, an enterprising producing food, textiles, cosmetics may create departments for different products. It can also have a division based on territories, north, south, or based on customers, or based on production process. So basically, you need to group. So you can find out various reasons to classify into various groups. Third point in the process of organizing is assigning duties. So when you assign a duty, you try to find an individual who is best suited to perform it. This is very important. And how do you judge whether he is best suited? You check the qualification, experience, aptitudes. So all these things are taken into consideration. So for manufacturing department, if you need a qualified person like engineer, you look out for an engineer. So you know the best person who will perform the job. Next is delegation of authority. So once the duties are assigned, appropriate authority is delegated to each individual. For example, the production manager is given the authority to purchase materials and machinery, decide the quantity and quality of output, and so on. Without such authority, a person cannot carry out the assigned job. So, delegation of authority is therefore an essential step in the process of organizing. A chain of command from the top manager to the individual at the lowest level is created through delegation of authority. This is very, very important. The various managerial positions are grouped into different levels of authority, which is called hierarchy. It means a definite ranking order. Hierarchy means a definite ranking order. In a hierarchy, the ranking of managerial positions is done by granting different degrees of authority to different positions. Top managerial positions have more authority than middle and lower managerial positions. Authority flows from top to bottom of the hierarchy in a graded manner. As it flows downwards, it decreases in its content gradually. Thus, delegation of authority creates authority relationships among various job positions and job holders. It creates superior subordinate relationships, which also serve as channels of communication. So, delegation of authority, dear students, is very, very important. I have, in fact, read the entire paragraph. You need to read it over and over again. Nothing much to explain, it's all self explanatory. The fifth step in organizing. So let's recapitulate. The step number one was division of work, second was grouping jobs or activities, third was assigning duties, fourth was delegation of authority, and fifth is coordinating activities. So efforts of different individuals are properly synchronized. Interrelationships between different positions are clearly defined so that everybody knows from whom he is to take orders and to whom he can issue orders. Very, very important. You should know your position. Basically, are you senior? Are you junior? Where you need to report? Where you need to command? Coordination is the working of different departments and individuals, is necessary for teamwork and efficient performance. The authority relationships created by management are called formal relationships. The relationships arising as a result of social interaction among people are known as informal. So, formal organization has been created, correct? So, what are the basic characteristics? So, formal organization, they refer to the structure of well defined jobs, each having a definite authority and responsibility. The structure is deliberately designed to enable people to work together effectively for accomplishment of common objectives. So, it is deliberately created by top management. So, basically, we are trying to discuss the formal organization. So, the top management creates it, and it's a deliberate creation. It is based on specialization or division of labor. It clearly defines the authority responsibility. It is developed through delegation of authority. It has written rules and procedures. It specifies the official lines of communication and official relationships. It focuses on jobs to be performed and not the individuals who perform the jobs. This is very, very important. It is manifested in organization structure and is depicted on the organization chart of the company. So, formal relationship is created to achieve organizational objectives. It consists of a structure of jobs and positions. So, there are various advantages, there are disadvantages. So, you need to read them, dear students. Informal organization. So, basically, the friendly relationships, the small social groups, this is called informal organization. The features of informal organization, that it is unplanned, It is basically human social relationship. There is the membership of informal organization is voluntary. It can be based on common taste, language, religion, culture. It has no written rules. So basically, it emerges to meet the social and psychological needs. They do not have organization chart for informal organization, and it may cut across various departments. So I think the formal and informal is quite clear. It's very easy. There are various distinction between how they are formed, distinction of purpose, distinction of structure, distinction based on leadership, based on communication, based on behavior of members, the focus, the adherence to rules and regulations, size, stability and durability, interdependence. So, formal and informal organization, you need to study on the basis of distinction, like the meaning, the formation, the purpose, the structure, the nature, focus, behavior, leadership, flow of communication, origin, organization chart, rules and regulations, interdependence and authority. So, advantages of informal organization. It means informal organization is so important. It comes up with a lot of advantages. Sense of belonging, relief from monotony, solution of work problems, because they assist each other, protection from outside pressure, communication channel, innovation and creativity, social control, support to formal organization. So these are the various advantages, but they come with certain limitations also. Conflicting norms. So an informal organization evolves its own norms, and they may be contrary to the standards of behavior and performance in the formal organization. So there can be a conflict. Resistance to change. Changes are not welcome. So the management has to face resistance to new work methods. Role conflict. See, when an employee is a member of both formal and informal group, he faces conflict. For example, as a member of the formal organization, he may be required to prevent any slackening of work. On the other hand, as a member of an informal organization, he may be expected to go slow in his work. Conformity. So basically, an informal organization forces its members to conform to its norms and values, even if it is harmful to the interest of the formal organization. And well, rumor, they play a very important role in informal, because it's breeding ground for rumors. There's so many various people from various departments, they merge and they engage into gossiping. So how to manage informal organization? Just do a self reading, dear students. So what do we mean by organization structure? Now let's come to structure. So every organization has a structure in which functions or tasks to be performed are defined and described. This is quite clear. The role of various job positions and authority relationship, they are also specified. So basically it is structure of relationships between various positions, various job positions. It's a structural framework of duties and responsibilities required of the personnel in performing various functions within the company. So the company has a goal, and the structure is made so that the relationship between people are explained, and it is basically a system of job positions, the role assigned to them, the authority relationship between various positions. The structure facilitates the flow of work and communications in the enterprise. It provides a framework wherein employees can perform their respective tasks. The organization structure is generally like a pyramid with a narrow top and broad bottom. So basically, narrow top means the boss, and broad pyramid means the workers, the factory workers, the laborers. They are more in quantity. So it's a pyramid. As a structure, organization has the following features: two or more persons, common objectives, division of work, communication, cooperative efforts, rules and regulations. So let's try and understand what is meant by line organization. So we all understand what exactly we mean by a line. But what is line organization? It refers to a direct chain of command through which authority flows from top to bottom. So it's a horizontal line or a vertical line, my friends, when we say top to bottom. So there is a straight, unbroken, scalar chain, and all orders and communications flow down the line. The line of authority not only serves as the avenue of command to operating personnel, but also provides the channel of communication, coordination, and accountability in the enterprise. So let's understand in much detail pure line organization. In this type of organization, activities at a particular level are similar. Every employee performs by and large same type of work. The division exists solely for convenience of supervision and control. When both the foremen are supervising the same operations, pure line organization is seldom used in modern industry, as nature of work is rarely identical in all cases. It may, however, be found as a part of some specified groups, such as inspection. So pure line organization, basically, let's say we have three or four foremen, but all of them doing the similar, purely similar jobs. Next is departmental line organization. So in departmental line organization, the enterprise is divided into departments. Each supervisor and workers under him perform similar work, but their work differs from that performed in other departments. This makes for unity of control and differentiation of work. In such organization, interdepartmental relationships should be clearly defined to facilitate coordination and control. If you refer your textbook, there's a figure 9.4 which shows departmental line organization of a textile unit. Each department is self-sufficient independent unit. One departmental head cannot issue orders directly to subordinates in the other department. This is the most important thing. So there's a production manager, but he is supervising three various departments like superintendent in spinning, superintendent in weaving, and superintendent in dyeing. So all these three departments, they are the captains in themselves. So all three departments are captains, so they cannot issue orders directly to subordinates in the other department. So spinning department cannot issue order to the subordinate of the weaving department or the dyeing department. So what are the merits of line organization? Simplicity, quick decisions, unified control, discipline, fixed responsibility, economy, coordination, executive development. What are the demerits? Like overburdening, lack of specialization, autocratic leadership, difficulty in staffing, instability, suitability. Now we come to a very important discussion, that is line and staff organization. This line and staff organization is favorite of examiners. They like to question about line and staff. So students, are you ready? Line executives stand in the primary chain of command and are directly concerned with the accomplishment of primary objectives. But they are generalist and therefore staff positions are created to provide advice. Specialists are attached to line managers to provide specialized advice and information on specific managerial problems. Staff personnel are experts in their respective functions. They are purely of advisory nature and have no power of command outside their own departments. Generally, the substantive functions which directly contribute to the overall goals of the organization are classified as line and others as staff positions. So staff serves as a supplement to line. Staff advice and counsel is not binding, please, dear students. Staff advice and counsel is not binding on line managers. If you refer the diagram, the solid lines like from the managing director to the production manager to the plant superintendent. So it's a direct line, but they also have staff. So the plant superintendent will have a chief engineer and a quality inspector. The production manager might have a personnel manager or a finance manager or a secretary. So they are all supportive people. Line and staff organization is a combination of the line structure, which concentrates control too much, and the functional structure, which divides control too much. It is an attempt to combine the advantages of specialization and unity of command. The line position serves to maintain unity of command, while the staff wing, wonderful word, wing, okay, so wing, one on the left, one on the right, but the heart and the soul is the line, okay. So what is important, heart, soul, or let's say heart or wings? So heart is the line, okay, and wings are the staff. The line position serves to maintain unity of command, while the staff wing provides expert advice and counsel for efficient management. The need for staff position arises when the work of an executive increases. Yes, you need juniors, and its efficient performance requires expert guidance which he himself cannot provide due to limited capabilities. So what are the merits of line and staff organization? So we can have a planned specialization, balanced decision, discipline, undivided responsibility, flexibility, executive development. And what would be the demerits? There can be conflicts. Line and staff organizations suffer from the following drawbacks: conflicts. So, line executives and staff specialists, now they enter into conflict. There is a danger that the staff may encroach upon line authority and line may ignore staff advice. Jealousies and friction between line and staff reduce operational efficiency of the enterprise. There is a wide difference between the orientations of the line and staff. Line managers tend to be practical while staff men tend to be more theoretical. So conflicts, it's very very important. Lack of coordination. Basically, it's difficult to make a clear cut allocation of duties between line and staff executives. Lack of well defined authority results in confusion and lack of coordination. Teamwork and harmony of effort may suffer. Ineffective staff. So, staff may not perform their job well because they are not accountable. This is so important, dear students, for the results. Because the hierarchy is the straight line top to bottom, and staff are the wings. So, staff may be ineffective because it lacks authority to get its advice implemented. Line executives may resent staff and may blame staff for their own failures in implementing recommendations successfully. So line managers also, they have a very easy escape route. Oh, these staff, these people are inefficient donkeys. Expensive. Line and staff structure is more expensive than the line organization because two separate sets of personnel are required. The last point is lack of creativity. Line managers may depend too much on staff for advice and guidance. This dampens original thought, judgment, and initiative on the part of line executives. Staff specialists may be blamed for recommendations unsuccessfully implemented by the managers. In practice, line and staff structure has become most popular in large organizations. Often, an enterprise begins with line structure and add up staff specialists as the business expands. The striking feature of line and staff organization is that each person receives specialized advice and service without being asked to be accountable to more than one superior. However, this structure is not economical for small organizations which cannot take full advantage of the service of experts. So, dear students, since this is very important, I have tried my best to explain, cover in detail, but you are supposed to read the difference between line and staff organization. Carefully jot down your points. There are approximate 8 points. Please be ready. Examination, you need to reproduce as much as possible so that you might score very high. Now next is functional structure. So activities can either be grouped on the basis of major functions or on the basis of products and services. So functional structure or divisional structure. So under functional structure, each major or basic function is organized as a separate department. Basic organic functions are functions the performance of which is vital and essential to the survival of the organization. like production function, sales function, financing, personnel. They are the basic functions in a manufacturing enterprise. On the other hand, in a retail store, buying, selling, finance are the major functions. If necessary, a major function may be divided into sub-functions. For instance, activities in the production department may be classified into quality control, processing of material, and repairs and maintenance. Thus, the process of functional differentiation may take place through successive levels in the hierarchy. So, just go through the various advantages. On the whole, divisional structure is suitable for those being enterprises which supply a wide variety of products with different manufacturing technologies and marketing tools. So basically, dear students, production manager can have repair and maintenance, quality control, factory manager, foreman, storekeeper under purchase manager. So just read basically the advantages, disadvantages. Now coming down to divisional structure. So divisional structure, the activities of organization are grouped into number of divisions. Divisions are created on basis of products. Every major product is organized as a separate division. Each division looks after the production, sales and finance of one product line. Divisional structure is useful when product expansion and diversification, manufacturing and marketing characteristics of the product are of primary significance. It is generally employed when the product is relatively complex and a great deal of capital is required for plant and equipment, such as in the automobile and electronic industries. For instance, a big company with diversified product line may have three product divisions, one each for plastics, chemicals and metals. So they have basically divided divisional structure based on plastic, chemicals and metals. Each division may be subdivided into purchasing, production, sales and personnel activities. So basically we are studying organization. So we need to have structure, so we can have various structure based on function or based on division. So this you need to study in little depth. So please go through the distinction between functional and divisional structure. Delegation of authority, I think we have already studied what exactly is meant by delegation. It takes place when a manager assigns a part of his work to others and gives them the authority to perform the assigned task. The manager who delegates authority holds his subordinates responsible for proper performance of the assigned task. Thus, the process of delegation involves assigning duties, entrusting authority, and imposing responsibility on subordinates. So, delegation of authority merely means granting of authority to subordinates to operate within prescribed limits. So, there are various definitions, you may skip them, but let's understand the important characteristics. Delegation involves sharing of work and authority with others. A manager does not pass on his entire work and authority to his subordinates. Please, this is very important, dear students. If he does so, his managerial position becomes empty with no work and no authority. He always retains some authority which he exercises himself. He retains the authority to take important decisions and the authority to supervise and control the activities of his subordinates. So basically, 100% delegation is never done. If you do 100% delegation, that means you lose yourself. So you give part roles to your subordinates so that you are relieved of certain pressure. You give them the responsibility, you give them the authority to complete. Delegation of authority is based on the elementary principle of division of work. So basically, you are dividing the work. No manager can perform the entire work assigned to him. He gets part of the work carried out by his subordinates. In fact, getting things done by his subordinates is an essential aspect of manager's job. Delegation is always done within certain limits. While delegating authority, a manager defines the limits within which subordinates can exercise their authority. Basically, I am the manager and I am appointing a duty to a junior, and the junior starts behaving as if he is the manager. Oh my god, no, 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 no. So, delegation is done within certain limits. Delegation never means abdication of responsibility. After delegating authority, a manager remains responsible for the work which he has assigned to the subordinates. So basically, the manager, he is getting the work done by other, but in the line of authority, when he is answerable to his senior, he cannot say, "Oh, I had delegated this work to this person and he really spoiled it." No, 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 no. He has to remain responsible. Delegation does not imply reduction in the authority of the superior. He can at any time take back or reduce the delegated authority. A superior exercises control and to ensure that the subordinates are using their authority in proper manner. A person can delegate authority only when he himself has the authority. Delegation does not mean avoiding decisions. A manager delegates authority for routine matters so that he can concentrate on important matters. Delegation of authority is a systematic process rather than arbitrary or ad hoc exercise. A hierarchy of managerial position is created when authority is delegated systematically from higher to lower levels. Delegation of authority is an essential part of organizing and managing. A manager manages by guiding and coordinating the activities of his subordinates. This presupposes delegation of tasks and authority. Managers have no alternative but to delegate. Delegation involves downward transfer of authority from a superior to a subordinate. So, dear students, these are the various characteristics. Now, once you have studied them in depth, think about it, try to assimilate, and then you can easily write anything on importance of delegation or main advantages. Like main advantages, the points we can simply discuss. There are 7 important points, the main advantages which delegation gives. Basically, advantage number 1 is relief to top executives. Advantage number 2 is scalar chain. Delegation of authority creates a chain of superior subordinate relationship among managers. It provides meaning and content to managerial jobs. It is also directs and regulates the flow of authority from top of to bottom of organization. It serves as a basis of management hierarchy. Then specialization, then quick decisions, motivation of subordinates, executive development, growth and diversification. So, what are the elements of delegation of authority? The process of delegation of authority consists of 3 interrelated elements. So, assignment of tasks and duties, grant of authority, and creation of responsibility and accountability. It is very easy, just read them, nothing to worry at all. Next point we come is authority. The term authority implies the right of an individual to take decisions and to command his subordinates. Like in house, the elder sister says, I have the authority to command and take decisions. It is the sum of rights and powers entrusted to a person to enable him to perform the assigned task. Henry Fayol has defined it as the right to give orders and the power to exact obedience. So, we are discussing authority. It is a legitimate right of an individual. It is the right to command and control others, to take and enforce decisions. It is bound by certain limits. In addition to the limits implied in the position occupied by an individual, there are legal, social, and biological limits to his authority. It is used to achieve organizational objectives. Authority determines the superior subordinate relationships. So, there are few more points on authority. Dear students, please read them. Then there is a good comparison between authority and power. Please read them. An individual may derive his authority from three sources. Therefore, there are three types of authority given as follows: formal authority, competence authority, acceptance authority. So, this is very, very important, dear students. Formal authority, it is the authority given to an individual by his boss. It is delegated through a chain of command. Competence authority, it is the authority of knowledge. A person having specialized knowledge and skill commands influence on others. Mr. Nani Palkiwala was regarded as an authority on tax in India. Then acceptance authority. It is the authority which an individual gets when others accept or obey his orders and instructions. A person's command may be accepted when he can give rewards and penalties. It may also be accepted because others have faith in him. So we understood authority. Now let's understand responsibility. Responsibility refers to the obligation to perform the assigned task or duties to the best of one's ability. So, what are the distinctions between authority and responsibility? You need to study that. But before doing that, there's something called accountability. Accountability means personal answerability for the final outcome. Personal answerability for the final outcome. India lost the World Cup final. So, personal answerability for the final outcome. When an individual gets authority from his superior, he becomes obliged to render an account of how he has used his authority. According to McFarland, accountability is the obligation of an individual to report formally to his superior about the work he has done to discharge the responsibility. The basic features of accountability are as follows. Accountability is an obligation to carry out responsibility and exercise authority in terms of established standards of performance. The extent of accountability depends upon the extent of authority and responsibility a person cannot be held answerable for the task not assigned to him. Accountability always moves upward from a subordinate to a superior. Accountability cannot be delegated. This is the most important line. Please do not fall a trap. Accountability cannot be delegated because it is the personal answerability. The coach of India cannot delegate. You are personally answerable. A person is accountable only for the work assigned to him. The manager delegating authority remains accountable to his superior for his own work as well as the work of his subordinates. Accountability requires a formal report by a subordinate to his superior. Accountability is different from responsibility. Responsibility is the work to be done, while accountability is the obligation to do it satisfactorily. Accountability is necessary because superior must know if he was justified in delegation of authority or not. Delegation will not serve its purpose if the subordinate is not made answerable to the superior. Just as responsibility is a derivative of authority, accountability is a derivative of responsibility. Next important concept is centralization and decentralization of authority. The concept of centralization and decentralization are related to the concept of delegation of authority. Centralization and decentralization represent the pattern of distribution of authority among managers at different levels. So, when we talk about centralization of authority, it refers to a systematic and consistent retention or concentration of authority for decision making at top or higher levels of management. An organization is said to be centralized when top management retains absolute authority for making almost all decisions on the functioning of the organization. In a centralized organization, all decisions on specific matters are taken by one or few managers at the top level. In such an organization, a very little authority is delegated to managers at middle and lower levels. They have to depend on top management for instruction and guidance in day to day activities. They are expected to show no initiative and freedom in their day to day activities. Top management exercises strict supervision and control over all the activities in the organization. So, this was centralization, my friends. When we say decentralization, it means systematic dispersal of authorities in all departments and at all levels of management for taking decisions and actions appropriate at the respective levels. So basically, it is absolutely opposite. Here you are distributing the authority, dispersal of authority to various departments. So merits and demerits can be studied individually. Once you understood, it would be easy to understand the distinction between delegation and decentralization as well. So dear friends, just keep reading, keep understanding, keep jotting down the points. With this, we come to the end. Thank you so much. I love you all.